I'm afraid that I will not be able to tell you much more than what I said last week, which is that on this specific case, we invite you indeed to contact the Bulgarian authorities, as it is, as also Dana just stressed, the national authorities, the member states that are responsible for the implementation and the enforcement of the EU bans in the area of, for instance, neonicotinoids, which is the substance the Euractiv article you referred to has mentioned. Now, as far as we are concerned, as I also stressed last week, the Commission takes a very cautious approach, as cautious as possible to protect, obviously, the bees, the health of which is very important. We therefore very closely monitor the relation between bee health and pesticides. We have taken a strong commitment in this area by severely restricting or banning the use of plant production products containing certain of these neonicotinoids. That's what I can say with regard to the health angle on this specific case. Maybe Daniel has to add something.
Yes. Indeed, I will now invite Daniel to join us on screen to cover any additional information he may provide on the Common Agriculture Policy related aspects, since you mentioned the fact that there were payments from the CAP involved to the companies in question. Daniel? Unfortunately, we cannot hear you, Daniel, for one reason or another. Yes, it may be something with your connection. We are trying to look into this. Perhaps you give it another try. Daniel, let's try again. No, still no sound. I can see that you try, but we cannot hear you. So, unless we can fix that rapidly, because I can still see you speaking, but we cannot hear anything, I propose that we revert to you to cover this aspect later, once you have fixed your mic problem. So, that would probably leave Lorenzo with a follow-up, but there is no point in trying a follow-up on the agricultural-related aspects until we have Daniel fixing his audio problem. If you have a follow-up which concerns the health-related aspects, I would be most glad to give you the floor, Lorenzo.
Yes, I understand the answer that Stefano has given, and it was the same last time, but my question was not about who is responsible to implement in first place the ban on pesticides. My question is about what the Commission is doing. The Commission has the possibility to start infringement procedures, and if it is true that the Bulgarian state is not acting on this, is not interested in acting on this, as the inquiry from Euractiv shows, I mean, this is not a problem anymore only about the Bulgarian state implementing it. It's a problem for the Commission to make sure, to be sure that the ban is implemented. And so my question is, what about an infringement procedure against the Bulgarian state which is not respecting the ban? Thanks.
Thank you very much, Lorenzo. Well, as I said, we take the health of bees obviously very important, which has led to this legislation. Again, it's up to member states to implement this legislation. The Commission will, of course, closely monitor what is happening with regard to the implementation of our EU legislation, and if need be, the Commission will take the necessary actions. But at this stage, I don't think I can say much more on this.
Thank you, Stefan. I understand that Daniel has solved his mic problem in the meantime, and he will make a new attempt to respond to Lorenzo on the CAP-related aspects. Daniel, can you talk to us now? I'm sorry, I can still see you speak, but
can you hear me now?
Yes, now it's fine. Please go ahead.
Very good. Well, what I can say is to repeat what we tried to explain already last Friday. We are aware of these media reports, and what we can do is to remind you how the rules, the Common Agricultural Policy rule apply. So any beneficiary of CAP subsidies has to comply with a series of rules, including EU directives.
That we lost you, Daniel. There is something going on with your sound system today.
Yeah.
Are you back, Daniel? I'm afraid it doesn't work, though we hear some background noise from your mic, so perhaps you give it another try? Yes, I am afraid that we cannot have Daniel to complete his answer. In this case, unless he can join us now with sound, I will just propose that we try to get back to you later. And if that fails...
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now we can feel you. Now we can hear you. So
okay.
Please give it another
try. I don't know
try.
if you can see me, but I'll give it another try just to basically to explain or reiterate what we had the chance already to explain last week, that when it comes to CAP, Common Agricultural Policies subsidies, the rules are very clear, and any beneficiary has to comply with all the relevant rules. Also, when it comes to the EU legislation in terms of pesticides, and if these rules are not respected, then the subsidies can be reduced or even withdrawn. But again, it's first and foremost, since these are funds that fall under the shared management responsibility, it's first and foremost for the national authorities to establish the facts and then to act in accordance and to implement the EU legislation, in particular the pesticides legislation and its cross-compliance system in the Common Agricultural Policy.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Do colleagues have any questions for Stefan, who's on stage on the podium? I see no hand raised. Or for Daniel, whom we have the luck of having with audio on the line. No hand raised either, so thank you very much to both of you. Are there any other questions for us today on any other topic for any other spokesperson?